Many tanks out there are special in their own unique way. Some might be more built for destruction, while others for chasing other enemies around. They've replaced horses on the battlefield and become a machine of destruction you want to stay away from. From the Russian Armada tank to some crazy prototypes Japan is building, here are the most insane main battle tanks in the world.
Привет, comrades. This is your host, American Eye, keeping an eye on everything you want to know.
Number 10. T-90. Unless there's a military day parade going on in Moscow, you would not want the T-90 tank 3rd generation main battle tank rolling through your streets. This Russian-built tank uses a 125mm smoothbore cannon, and it's been fitted with many upgrades to keep it competitive against other top armies around the world. It was first introduced to the Russian Ministry of Defense in 1992, and one of the more notable upgrades includes a fire control system and the multi-fuel engine. It's certainly no lightweight and will need one heck of a beating if it's going to go down. It's seen some combat in places like Syria, where one tank reportedly withstood 7 RPG anti-tank rockets and even a direct hit from a BG-M71 Tau. One was eventually destroyed by the Islamic State, so it's certainly not invincible. It uses a steel composite reactive blend, which can measure up to 8 centimeters thick in some places. The tank also has been exported to India since they already manufacture the 2nd generation T-72. Number 9. The Type 10 prototype. Although Japan is typically a country who focuses on their naval strength, that doesn't mean they won't be prepared if the battlefield is brought to the mainland. The Type 10 is a next-generation main battle tank which may or may not replace the Type 74 and Type 90 main battle tanks that are currently being used. Each unit comes with a price tag of $8.4 million and weigh 44 tons each. It uses a similar 120mm smoothbore cannon as the main armament, but also a few machine guns in case anything gets out of hand. The armor was designed to give the tank commander a better view and more wide range that they could see than previous tanks used by Japan. It's been built in Japan by the famous car company Mitsubishi, and it's pretty fuel efficient as well. It can move at the same speed forwards as it does backwards at 43 miles an hour. Many are concerned that the roads and not all bridges in Japan are designed to withstand the sheer weight of one of these things. It's estimated that they can only pass through 84% of all bridges in the country. This is still a big upgrade, however, considering the heavier Type 90 can only pass through about 65%. Number 8. The M1A1 Abrams. The M1A1 is a 3rd generation main battle tank and has certainly seen some time in action. It's the preferred tank by the US military, and other countries want this vehicle in their arsenal. Each one costs about $6.2 million to construct and has been around since 1979. It replaced the M60 tank and is used by the armies of Kuwait, Egypt, and Saudi Arabia, Australia, and more recently, the Iraqi army. It's under constant upgrades from engineers, and some considerable upgrades have taken place within the past decade. The armor is made up of depleted uranium and other classified materials now. It's equipped with thermal vision, a weapon station, position navigation equipment, and digital displays. The tank is fit to drive through various elements and is typically fitted with a machine gun and a high-explosive anti-tank gun. Some believe it might be inadequate, however, due to only having a 1.9-mile lethal range against armor. Number 7. The Merkava. The Merkava is a main battle tank used by the Israeli Defense Forces and translates from Hebrew into the chariot. These chariots are chasing people out of the Holy Land and teaching the Palestinians who's boss. The main component the Israelis were concerned with was cost effectiveness, and these somehow only cost $3.5 million, which helped make it on our list. Each one weighs at least 65 tons, and the most common variety was the Merkava Mark III, which was in production from 1989 until 2003, and over 700 of these were kept in the stables. The tank went through some advanced upgrades during this time, and it features a 1,200 horsepower engine, which hits a max speed of 37 miles an hour. You better believe these beasts are battle-proven as well. During Operation Protective Edge after Israel, 120 to 130 Hamas militants were neutralized by the 401st Brigade, which is Israel's premier tank brigade. The armor might not be quite as tough as some of the Russian tanks, and they've been shown to be vulnerable against anti-tank mines, IEDs, and other various missiles. Number 6. Object 279. Throughout time, there's been quite a few attempts to make the perfect main battle tank, so it might be interesting to hear about this mysterious prototype that the Russians were working on. The Soviets were no stranger when it came to making some high-quality tanks at that time, and a few different prototypes were created. Object 279 was a heavy tank weighing 66 tons that was developed in the 1960s. Work on the tank started in 1957 in the city of Leningrad, and the most notable thing about this tank came out to be its thick armor. The maximum thickness of this armor was 10.6 inches. It also featured a shield which would hopefully keep it from tipping over in case it was introduced to a nuclear shockwave. Needless to say, this thing probably would have been indestructible if the project was complete, but by no means would it be fast. The Soviets chose to research other things and wanted lighter vehicles that were easier to transport. Number 5. The Armada. So it turns out that Russia is pretty advanced when it comes to tanks, possibly more advanced than the West ever was, since the super tank called Armata T-14 was recently unveiled in June of 2015. Russia was flexing their muscles during the Victory Day parade in Moscow, and photos of these insane tanks were released. Russia boosted their military spending in recent years, and have came up with masterpieces of tank engineering. This tank has state-of-the-art weaponry, a remote-controlled turret, and basically impenetrable armor that we couldn't destroy with our tanks. It also has the ability to go completely remote-controlled and is the first fully robotic tank in the world. Some commanders compare controlling these things to be similar to playing a video game. Who knew your COD skills would come in handy someday in the future? The Armada certainly has some firepower too, with its 154mm cannons having the longest barrels. Number 4. Challenger 2. Although the UK doesn't have a huge stable of main battle tanks in their arsenal, the ones they do have are pretty badass, and they're expected to stay in service at least until the year 2035. This tank weighs roughly 62.5 pounds and can weigh up to 75 tons before it heads off in the battle. About 446 Challenger 2 tanks have been built between 1993 to 2003, with a few of them being exported to countries like Oman or Saudi Arabia. It's received major technology upgrades by base systems with 21st century weapons and targeting systems. The main cannon shoots a 122mm round through a rifled barrel, meaning that there's grooves in the barrel, which allow for increased range and accuracy. Although this might limit on some of the rounds it can fire, there are benefits of keeping the barrel rifled. It holds the record for the longest confirmed tank kill, which hit a target 5 kilometers or 3.1 miles away. Number 3. Type 99 3rd Generation MBT. China understands the importance of producing a main battle tank in order to protect their troops that head into battle. Tanks can often serve multiple purposes and help protect infantry units from small arms fire and other various projectiles. The new prototype that's been made is the 99A, which is dressed up with modern digital camouflage, and it's the Chinese response to the Armada tank of the Russians. The Type 99A features upgraded armors, a commander's periscope, and explosive reactive armor. The 1200 horsepower engine was replaced with a 1500 horsepower engine, and also features a hunter-killer fire control system that can track down its targets. With thermal vision and controlled lock-on aiming, it can spot a target 5 kilometers away. Weighing in at 58 tons, it's more lightweight than some of the tanks on this list, but maintains a smooth barrel design. This allows the cannon to fire various ammunitions effectively. Much more about this tank still remains classified, since China doesn't want to give away all their secrets. Number 2. The T-84 Oplot. Here we see the Ukrainian main battle tank that's a futuristic development of the Soviet T-80. It was developed from 1994 to the present. It's capable of firing NATO standard 120mm ammunition and guided missiles. The main purpose was to develop some kind of military independence after the fall of the Soviet Union. One of the best features of this tank is its 26 per ton horsepower engine, which gives it an extra boost of power. Although Ukraine is cold a lot of the time, this tank is also designed to function properly in warmer climates, which makes it a good export. One of the main places it's sent off to is Thailand, and it's becoming a good commodity to international clients. Various prototypes were created of this tank, with the T-84 Oplot variety being the most up-to-date version. It features things like advanced armor, new electric countermeasures, and panoramic tank sighting. The main setback, however, is the ammunition storage, which is vulnerable and will explode if the armor is penetrated. But first, before we get to our number 1, we'd like to hear which tanks you thought we might have left off this list, and if you might have seen any of these in person. Let us know in the comments section, and maybe we'll feature you in an upcoming video. And number 1, the Leopard tank. Germany would put up a good fight on land using blitzkrieg tactics with roughly 4,620 armored fighting vehicles and 432 combat tanks. Being the economic powerhouse of Europe, Germany uses the intimidating Kampfpanzer Leopard as their main battle tank. It's a beast of German engineering and is often believed to be the best overall tank in the world. It uses a smoothbore 120 Rheinmetall L55 smoothbore along with the MG3A1. Each tank costs an estimated $7 million to produce and has a reputation of being the BMW of the main battle tanks. It's the new hot toy on the block and is used by powerful countries in Europe such as Denmark, Austria, Finland, Greece, Norway, Spain, and other places across the globe such as Singapore, Ecuador, and Indonesia. Over 3,200 of these have been built and will likely become a successful import for Germany. It can move at a speed of 42 miles per hour, and new features include digital fire control systems and laser rangefinders.